Our project is the National Teacher Shortage by Team 3, John, Jessica, Andrew, and myself. What was once considered a sought-after career by many Americans has now turned into one of the least filled positions in today's society and nationwide. In 2022, over 60% of parents actually opposed of their students and kids becoming teachers. The teacher shortage problem is extremely complex, and there's many layers to it, which has both technical and adaptive challenges. Going into the challenges, there's many aspects to it, including the lack of support from administration and parents, the class sizes, and the student attitudes all contribute to the vicious cycle of burnout within the teaching community. Many things that lead to low morale amongst the teachers is the low wages, the overworking and high caseloads, and the lack of parental engagement. These problems and many others have caused the withdrawal of teachers in the education community and teachers just leaving the system. The AI solution, grow your own programs, and solving the financial burden of teachers are all part of the recommendations that we're going to be going over in this presentation. The AI solution will go into using AI to grade and evaluate students, giving teachers more time at home with their families and less time taking up their nights and weekends, doing things that is able to be done by AI. Grow Your Own Programs is a program that is founded in Venezuela back in, I think it was 2017. It uses local community members to fill the voids by recruiting them, training them, and transitioning them into educator roles. And the final recommendation that we're going to be making is solving the financial burden of teachers. Using targeted bonuses, community support, financial grants, and creating a local budget that is friendly to the education system will help ease that burden and allow teachers a little bit of financial freedom and maybe encourage more people into the education field.
Hi. When thinking about the teacher shortage problem, there are two main approaches we have to take. Number one, we have to increase the number of teachers. Number two, we have to increase the effectiveness of the existing teachers we have. And artificial intelligence can be a powerful tool in lightening educators' loads and increasing their reach. Doing this effectively means we've got to put a few things in place. Number one, we've got to train educators on how AI works and provide technical support. Next, educators will begin to use AI agents to help teach. These AI agents will become effectively digital teachers' aides, expanding a teacher's reach and broadening the student population that they can serve. And finally, educators will have to have a system to constantly monitor interactions between these AI agents and the students to make sure that effectiveness is maintained and that problems are corrected. And once those three primary things are in place, we'll see a repeatable student experience at scale. These AI agents can be out expanding the effectiveness of the teachers who put them in place. In order for this to work, the supportive context, leadership concept, is particularly applicable. And in the course material, Hackman lays out three particular subcontexts or concepts under the supportive context that are particularly applicable. The first is that providers and users speak different languages. Today, the makers of AI systems and the users, being teachers, educators, and students, speak different languages. Those are going to have to come together. Teachers and educators and students are going to have to be really, they're going to have to speak tech, so to speak, and understand technology in a deep way, particularly AI, and use it effectively. And the AI makers are going to have to understand the relationship between teachers and students and make sure that their AI models support that relationship effectively. The second thing that needs to happen is that the role of information professionals within institutions of learning are going to also have to change. It's rare that a teacher would show an IT person their lesson plan, but in the future, that they will be hand in hand in the delivery of teaching materials. And then finally, information really is power was another concept from that. And as the information that teachers provides moves to the forefront, teachers will have a lot more power. They will be able to license their material potentially across multiple institutions, and that relationship of employer employee between educators and their institutions will change dramatically.
Teachers are a major stakeholder when it comes to the teacher shortage, from feelings of underappreciation to salary disappointment, which leads to an unbalanced income to school debt ratio. There is little incentive to advance education, which impacts both teacher recruitment and retention. Furthermore, rural communities face education deserts due to what's known as the cycle of impoverishment, meaning issues like lack of amenities, low pay, few job opportunities for both yourself and your loved ones, lack of quality healthcare, and lack of quality childcare. All these things contribute to the cycle of impoverishment. Recommendation to help mitigate some of these issues is to implement grow your own programs, which is an alternative or untraditional pathway to the field of education. Grow your own programs are an initiative designed to recruit from within the community. This could include community members looking for a career change, essential personnel within the district, or perhaps even high school students who might be interested in a teaching career. Grow your own programs give them an alternative path to achieving that goal. This not only addresses the teacher shortage, it also diversifies the teacher workforce. When you pull from your own communities, these individuals already know the climate. They've already established relationships and know the backgrounds of many of these students and their families. They're aware of the barriers these students face and are familiar with the already established culture that engulfs their communities. When you pull from these communities and work with them through alternative pathways, it increases teacher retention. While there are some differences in causes that rural and urban communities face, one thing any community can benefit from is grow your own programs. For grow your own programs or any type of alternative pathway to be successful, a collective leadership approach is essential. The collective leadership approach involves people from across organizations or sectors working together to develop innovative and sustainable solutions. This type of approach is valuable when a problem cannot be solved by a single individual or organization and requires an adaptive perspective. Through collective leadership, roles are fluid and often rotated among people, and the leadership is relational, meaning individuals must interact with each other. Collective leadership is a collaborative effort where joint decision making takes place. Information sharing is crucial. There's shared accountability, and regular analysis is a must. Grow Your Own is a good example of how collective leadership works. There are many people across boundaries coming together in a collaborative effort to help solve or at least tackle the adaptive challenge of the teacher shortage. Districts are working with essential personnel or community members to get them connected with their partners at the colleges. Colleges are working with both the students and the districts, but they're also working with each other to ensure transferability. And finally, students should have the support of both their districts and the program leaders.
Hello. So the specific issue that I'm going to be addressing in this portion of the presentation is the teacher salary problem. I think this graph on the first slide does a really good job of illustrating just how bad the problem is. This graph takes into account the salaries of professionals who have similar educational requirements to those of teachers, and then compares teacher salaries against those. So you can see across the board, teachers are making less, and in most cases, far less than professionals who have similar educational requirements. This leads teachers to taking on extra jobs outside of school, which leads to quicker burnout, higher turnover, and ultimately less quality teachers, which hurts our education system as a whole. Our group has come up with 4 recommendations. I'm going to list those recommendations, and then I'll go into more detail about each one of them as we continue. We've got federal matching grants, cutting administrative waste, incentive programs, and corporate partnerships. The first one is federal matching grants. How this would work is Congress would pass legislation saying that the federal government will match statewide teacher salary increases. So, for instance, if the state of Kansas increases teacher salaries across the board by 5%, the federal government would come in and match that. And this would do a couple things. One, obviously, teacher salaries would go up, which is what we're looking for. But then 2, it'll encourage the state to dump resources into the education system, knowing they've got that federal backing. Our next recommendation is for local school districts to adjust their budgets to cut back on the administrative overhead costs that we've got. Over the last 20 years, there was a study by the Fordham Institute that showed that non-teaching administrative positions are growing almost twice as fast as the student population without increased student success. So a lot of this extra bloat could be cut down, and that money could be reallocated to the teachers. Our next recommendation is incentive programs, and these would be in hard-to-staff areas like low-income, rural communities, and high-cost-of-living cities. These incentive programs will work as either retention or performance bonuses. So if a teacher goes to a rural district for 5 years, they could get a set amount of money for staying there that long that goes beyond just their salary. And performance could be done yearly or every 2 years based on test scores and administrative evaluations. And our last recommendation is corporate partnerships. This would work with individual corporations matching with individual school districts. And these corporations would invest resources into the school, which obviously would increase teacher salary if there's more money to go around. And then you'd have better resources to teach with. And then corporations would benefit by potentially setting up internship pathways and overall improving the workforce of the next generation. All of these recommendations would require the leadership concept crucial conversations. So obviously, for the federal matching grants, there's going to need to be legislation, which is going to take members of Congress seeing that this is an urgent problem that needs an urgent solution. School leadership reflection would be administrators, superintendents taking a look and saying, there's things we can do individually in our district better, and we can't wait on others to fix our problems when we can be doing stuff right here in front of us. And then the corporations potentially doing partnerships have a chance to be proactive, as this is more of an outside the box solution. And it could really make waves in improving their overall workforce going forward.
To conclude, we have demonstrated how we diagnosed the problem of the teacher shortage in the United States and why it's an incredibly complex social problem. While there are both adaptive and technical elements to this challenge, there are no simple solutions. To help solve the adaptive, complex challenge, it's going to require experimentation, learning, and adaptability to determine which strategies are the best fit. We've provided recommendations to help mitigate the teacher shortage, such as using AI, which will require supportive context leadership, grow your own programs, which will require collective leadership, and how to address raising salaries by implementing crucial conversations. Thank you.